Mercedes is yet to feel the consequences of Hamilton's move, and it seems like the seven-time world champion has left a hole that will take a lot of effort to fill. Whenever a superstar of his caliber makes a move like he did, then it's obvious that a massive array of engineers will leave along with him, and two very loud names have been rumoured to join Hamilton at Ferrari. On top of that, these high-profile members of Mercedes will pull another string of engineers with them, so it could very well be that Ferrari will slowly but surely turn into the new Mercedes. But is this what the Maranello team needs in order to be competitive again? And more importantly, how will Mercedes bounce back from this massive exodus? It's safe to say that if you are a Mercedes fan, tough days are coming for you. Hamilton's departure came as a massive shock to everyone out there, even Toto Wolff and Peter Bonington, who both said that this was the most unexpected move that the seven-time world champion could have made. While Wolff admitted it was to be expected at a certain point in their contractual situation, nobody expected it to happen this early and this swiftly, prompting Mercedes to deal with something they needed the least in this hard period: the exodus of staff. Everything started with Loic Serra, who was the head of vehicle performance at Mercedes, and with his statements against Mike Elliott and the W13, as well as the W14's development paths, Hamilton felt like he had somebody he could relate to in terms of the performance of the cars. The fact that Mercedes brought back Allison failed to convince Serra to stay in the team, and it's very likely that it's him who convinced Hamilton about the project they're currently undergoing at Ferrari, as Loic is starting his work there from 2025 onwards. While Mercedes expected that certain engineers would leave with Serra, considering the authority he had in the team, they never expected Hamilton to join that swiftly, paving the way for Peter Bonington, known as Bono, to join him in Ferrari as well. The factual situation is that Ferrari does slack severely when it comes to the human factor, starting with strategists and ending with race engineers. For this, Hamilton would want a trusted team around him, and who can he trust more than the man who encouraged him with the words, "It's hammer time, Lewis." This is a topic that Toto Wolff has also opened up about, and when talking about it in further detail, he admitted that there are fears about Bono leaving for Ferrari once he has the first opportunity, which would be beyond the 2025 season. He said, "I think this is a discussion that everyone will have to have in the coming months. I've already spoken to Bono. When I told him about Hamilton's departure for Ferrari, he asked me, is it April 1st? Bono's future is certainly something we will discuss in the future." Bono has been a vital part of Hamilton's success with Mercedes, and the pair would definitely prefer if they could keep their working relationship at Ferrari as well. But the situation for Bono is that he needs to remain at Mercedes until the end of the 2025 year if he wants to join Ferrari without paying certain penalties. Unlike Hamilton, he doesn't have an active clause in his deal that would enable him to activate it and leave whenever he sees fit, just like Hamilton did when it came to the Ferrari project. But is Bono the only threat that Mercedes is currently dealing with? I would say the answer to that question is certainly not, as the head of trackside performance, Riccardo Mosconi, who has been a sturdy figure in the success of the Brackley-based team, is rumoured to be the latest high-profile member of Mercedes to exit the team, searching for a new challenge. All good things must come to an end, and there are certain natural factors that go heavily in Ferrari's favour when it comes to luring Riccardo to their team. Apart from the fact that the Silver Arrows are currently shook by the transfer of Hamilton and the momentum is on Ferrari's side, Riccardo has been born and raised in Imola, a couple of kilometres away from Maranello, and it seems like he wouldn't have a hard time blending in with the current working environment, considering it's made up mostly of engineers he used to work for back in Mercedes. Currently, Mosconi has been rumoured to be offered a similar role in Ferrari as the one he's doing in Mercedes, and he's been marked as one of the top priorities that the Maranello team will try to poach in the following days. Apart from Mercedes, it seems like Red Bull are also targeted when it comes to staff being lured away, but that is not the topic of today's video. Hamilton barely knew any engineers at Ferrari, and the working environment he got used to is at Mercedes. So the real question is, how will the Brackley-based squad deal with all of this staff? Wolff acknowledged the risk that was posed upon them in terms of the engineer exodus, and when talking about this matter as well as the development of the W16, which would directly be impacted by what is currently going on in Brackley, the Austrian went on to say, "I think what I've always tried to do as a team principal and all of us at Mercedes is to be transparent and fair, and nothing is going to change in that respect in 2024. We owe it to our principles and racing intent, how we go about, and we will respect that. And I will be sure that the drivers will respect it." In terms of the development going forward, I think this is something we need to look at. The regulations stay pretty much the same, and when it comes to 2025, we will evaluate later in the season what it means in terms of technical information, but that's not something that bothers me at all. We have engineers that leave us and go to other teams, and the notice periods are sometimes as short as 6 months. But the key difference between those departures and the ones Mercedes is currently under huge threat from is the moving force, which is both Hamilton and leclerc. The odds are heavily stacked against Mercedes, and the fact that Hamilton left without even testing the car in 2024 on the ground in Bahrain speaks volumes about where the car is currently headed in terms of development. Obviously, he found something of a cardinal mistake that did not suit his wants and needs from the car, something he continuously pointed out in the past couple of years, and has been somehow left as an unanswered precedent that cost Mercedes so much. Now, apart from the technical staff exodus, Mercedes will also have to deal with the fact that Hamilton still has 1 more year with the team before he goes to another squad. And while they have little to no information to hide from him regarding the 2025 and 2026 developments, it does seem like he'll be prohibited from visiting the factories somewhere around the summer break period. Wolff shared his own opinion about Hamilton's integrity and the data leak situation in which his team might find themselves, adding, "I don't have any doubt about Lewis' integrity in terms of sharing information, and in that respect, we want to make sure that this is a successful season for both drivers and a successful season for Mercedes, and all of us will give our utmost to achieve that." The situation is loud and clear. Mercedes will see a vast number of their engineers and high-profile members of the team leave for Ferrari, and that would definitely shape up to be the biggest threat to the team's competitive future. Now that McLaren and Aston Martin have started to find gains throughout the current regulations, and with Ferrari's power duo of Leclerc and Hamilton from 2025 onwards, it's safe to assume that there will be massive issues that the team will have to face ahead of the challenging times that are coming for them. But Wolff feels like all of this is going to pass with positive energy from their side, and even though it's a newly founded situation, the team will pull all of the strings possible and come up with a positive outcome from this storm. Adding further to the matter, Wolff said, "I'm always interested in new and challenging situations, and balancing Mercedes' interests versus 2025 driver interests is something that we will openly discuss at the beginning, how to manage that, and for sure to come to a good outcome between us." With this in mind, do you think that Mercedes has what it takes in order to overcome the massive exodus that is preparing for them in the following seasons? And more importantly, is there a massive threat that the team will drop to the midfield due to a lack of competitiveness, as they'll be forced to rebuild from ground zero? Let us know what you think about all this in the comments below.